All of the candidates are confirmed they will be coming in. The preliminary interviews are held in closed session, and that's a provision under the open meeting law until we get to the point where there are finalists. And certainly when that happens, there'll be a public notice in terms of public interviews that would be taking place at that point.
Mr. O'Leary?
Greg, you talked about extending or re-advertising the position too. Is it still part of the
This
plan?
weekend, yeah.
So we have continued to advertise the position, so we'll potentially get more candidates.
It's been reposted with the Mass Municipal Association, but I did speak to my staff. I want to get it into the newspapers, regional newspapers, and the online listings for this coming weekend. We're a little bit stuck over the last 2 weeks between Labor Day, and then we had the storm event that took place on Sunday.
Yeah.
So it put us behind, a little bit behind the schedule, but.
Okay, but I just want to know if you're still planning on,
Yes,
on expanding the
Yes.
search. Okay.
yes, we
Good.
are.
And these are not final interviews, these are screening.
No, these
No,
are
this is great,
preliminary.
right, but this is from the first batch
Yeah.
of applicants, but we're still seeking other applicants.
Right.
Okay.
This is from how many?
4 from
originally?
11?
11.
Yeah.
I just wanted to update the board that there were interviews conducted with the 2 internal candidates seeking promotion for the chief of police position. This comes about as a result of Chief Nolan, who has mandatory retirement in March of 2012. I'm in the process of following up with the candidates, but I've not set a specific deadline for making a decision. I want to make sure that it's the right decision. It's very critical and very important. Related matter, Lieutenant Dan Jones, a longtime member of the police department, has retired. His effective last day was last Friday. There's one additional retirement in the police department this month that will impact the retirements budget. Both of those retirements were unanticipated. But I am in the process of filling the vacancies on the patrolman level. The process is regulated by civil service, so we're a little bit held hostage to the availability of civil service to issue us a timely list. I did receive a rehire list, it's called, which is any unemployed police officer throughout the state. One person out of probably 40 names came in and signed it, and then he promptly withdrew his name for consideration. So the next options that we have available to us is we have a total of 6 reserve police officers. They are people that have gone through a very rigorous hiring process run by the town. These are intermittents, or people who come in on an as-needed basis. We will be making our appointment likely from those list of candidates. So those are all people that are known to us, have all indicated an interest. The problem with civil services, we'd like to go there first. We'd like to have gone there a month ago, but we're not able to do so because we have to go through the process of requesting a rehire list first, and then wait 2 or 3 weeks for people to come in and sign a piece of paper. And if they don't come in and sign a piece of paper, then we have to ask civil service to go to our reserve list. And the good news is that's where we intend to go.
You really want to go to the reserve list?
Yes, yes, we do. We do want to go to the reserve list.
These are our reserve officers.
These are our
That already
people.
working in the department.
These are people who are known to us.
Where else would you go?
Just, okay. Because I see the list of the reserve officers, and some of them have been around a long time.
Some have, but by and large, there are a lot of newer people that show up on there. These are typically, there are a few of older people. They're younger than me, but they're a bit older.
That's fine. Yeah.
Some of those older candidates have recently resigned, or they're ineligible for appointment as a full-time permanent police officer for several different reasons.
No, they go through the academy and everything?
Some of the people on that list are academy trained. Some of the people on that list are not academy trained. They have to go through, there are 2 academies. One is for a reserve officer, which is I think it's a 90 or 96-hour training session. The other is for a full-time police officer. Those are 2 different academies. My understanding is some of the people that are on that reserve list, all of them have the Reserve Officer Academy experience. There are at least several candidates on that list who have their full-time academy training also.
Okay.
We really don't have any other options.
I'm surprised.
Oh, well, civil service. It's not like we can go out and advertise on the street and get 100 resumes from
They
people.
probably don't have a new candidate list, right? Wasn't it just a recent exam? Is that the issue?
You're talking about a patrol officer?
Right.
Yeah, we had, in the last year, we brought on 2 new reserve officers. We actually wanted to bring on 4 reserve officers. There were 2 people that washed out of that process, so we resulted in 2 people being hired.
And you mentioned there was 2 retirements, so you got Danny Jones and then there's Bruce.
Bruce Harder's
Bruce Harder.
retiring also.
Any other questions on that subject?
Skip to number 5. Just as you know, we survived the hurricane without any major problems. The majority of the problems that we experienced were power outages and trees down around town. I apologize if any of you were personally affected by that.
Can I say I was, but what I was impressed by, my electricity went out at 10 o'clock in the morning. I thought I was done for days. As Steve knows, there's 2 homes in my street. Figure they'll get to me probably about today. And 2 hours later, my electricity was on. And the stories you hear about other communities still being out, compared to what we went through here, we went through nothing.
RMLD did great.
I appreciate the efforts of the emergency management team you put together, that you spearheaded. I thought it was just excellently run. I know the public doesn't know this, but we were updated on, not an hourly basis, every couple hours, we were getting updates from you. So I thought it was fantastically run, so I applaud you and everyone else that was part of that team in that effort.
Let's take this opportunity to really compliment what you've done, what the town did, the police, fire, DPW, the entire emergency management team was superb. I mean, you hear about what's happened, as you mentioned, in other communities, and you did a super job. And I think the town was more safe than they realized. If anything happened, we were prepared.
I agree. I think what Greg put together beforehand to spearhead the readiness, of our public safety and DPW and other departments that would be involved as far as if there was evacuation, a need for shelter and all the rest. They did a terrific job of pulling that whole thing together, and again, I applaud your efforts for being there for the whole weekend. I know you were camped out down at the police station, but you didn't go unfed.
Yeah, thank you.
Mr. Prisco's wife's cookies, I
My wife,
understand,
I-
were, I'm giving you no credit.
My wife.
Wife's
He's just a
cookies.
delivery boy.
Yeah.
I'd
Just a
like to
little bit.
publicly say they were outstanding.
She sends me out in the middle of the storm.
But really, I think, your efforts ahead of time are to be applauded, and I think we were well served. And living in the same neighborhood, but yeah, we were out for a little bit at 10:30, but then we went out again at 1:30, and we were out until about 1 o'clock in the morning, but it wasn't due to lack of effort on the part of the DPW, who came immediately. I mean, huge trees came down. And my next door neighbor, the tree went through his roof. But knocked out the wires. DPW was right there for the cleanup and clear the way so that RMLD could come and reset the wires. And I mean, the response was immediate and terrific. And
I think it was a great exercise too, as a rehearsal for something, and it could have been a lot worse.
right.
And,
And I understand you've had a debriefing.
Yeah, we had a debriefing last Wednesday
Just to-
with everyone, and we actually circulated all the written comments out so everyone knows where we can make improvements. And we certainly think we
Greg, just for the people at home that are listening, can you just quickly tell us what that emergency response center was, who was in it, how you put it together?
We look at the public works director, the police and fire chiefs, the director of the council on aging was present, the superintendent of buildings, John Welch, the superintendent of the school department, building superintendent Wayne Hardacre was present. To tell me, who else am I thinking of? Who else am I missing?
Theo.
Oh, and the emergency management director was present. There were questions that came up during the course of the day about sheltering. For example, there was one instance where there was an elderly resident that lost power. She had a limited supply of oxygen on battery operation. What are we gonna do? Are we gonna open it? Yeah, I mean, those are the type of questions that come up in the course of even a minor emergency like we had to address. And then calling in staffing resources and making sure there was a point in time where the fire department indicated they had more calls than they had people. So we had to bring in additional people, but as the day went on, were able to release people. And it turned out that over the course of the night, throughout the night, we had 2 police officers and 2 firefighters that remained on duty. So we geared up quickly. The police and fire chiefs had people that were ready to go at 7 o'clock that morning, because I think the storm probably came in a little bit quicker than we realized. And then once it began to wind down, we started releasing people. I know that in Dick's case with his department, a week ago yesterday on Monday, they were out clearing and cleaning brush down, trees and limbs everywhere throughout the town, and I think it went really well.
That's great.
We're very fortunate.
Is there gonna be any relief funds?
Actually, Theo mentioned to me that there may be, Middlesex County may be part of some kind of, not the major disaster, but minor, to cover like overtime and use of vehicles.
Yeah.
So, if I find that out, I'll let Greg know to relay you.
That would be great.
Yeah, we always would welcome any available funds that come into us in reimbursement.
Even
Wonderful.
corporate,
Wonderful job, thank you.
even corporate.
Anything else, Greg?
No, thank you.
Okay, old and new business, Mr. O'Leary?
Actually, I have a few little items this year. Again, I already congratulated the town administrator and his
Thank you.
emergency response team in their efforts, and everybody else, RMLD, terrific job. Just a quick question on, the other thing is, I want to congratulate Jeff and his efforts for the Employee Appreciation Day. I was able to get over there, which was great. I didn't think I was going to, and it was a beautiful day. Had a good turnout, and the employees really did truly appreciate the gesture by the board and the administration. And Jeff's efforts to be noted, because he really pulled it off with some help from some other people, and it was a great day.
Jeff, do you have your list of the people that donated?
No,
'Cause I don't remember the name.
is that right? No, I do not have that with me.
I guess we'll make it just publicly state that a number of businesses donated food for the event, and it's much appreciated.
It really went off.
Actually, I do.
Okay.
Fortunately, I do. No,
I was hoping you brought that with you. I'll let you read it when it's your turn.
thank you.
Go ahead, Steve.
Again, to Lieutenant Dan Jones, 32 years of service to the police department, phenomenal career, and great public servant, and served the community well. Along Bruce Herter, again, had about 30 years of service. Almost half of that was spent on disability because he got hurt in the line of duty, and came back from that injury and put in another 15 years or so. So, I mean, 2 great public servants who served community well. We wish them well and a long, happy, and healthy retirement to both of them. The Route 62 culvert project, since we have Dick here and you here, just wondering what the status of that is, because I haven't heard much lately.
Now is, FEMA does not allow us to open up a culvert to let more water affect people downstream. So unfortunately, that restricts how big we can make it. So we're now kind of juggling, how can we maximize the benefit for Martin's Pond, but not harm people downstream? So we're going through a series of modeling in that. And we obviously are not gonna make this construction season.
All right. But the money's still appropriated and ready to go,
All the funds are there.
and,
It's just, a local community I won't name, apparently they opened the culvert up real wide in the downstream community, and the next storm got flooded. So FEMA locally is taking a hard look at culverts that may affect downstream people.
okay,
We are kind of affected by that new look.
yeah. It's a bit saddening, because I was hoping that we could get that done before the spring and next rainy season,
Right.
and get the Martins Pond area some relief, should they need it.
If it collapses during a storm, I can cut the cost in half.
Yeah. But okay, so,
Well,
Time.
we keep track of that. Also, during this last storm, Benevento, he usually was looked at as a problem. He actually kept his culvert down low, he paved it over, so actually it's better for water flowing through it over now. So he didn't make it up higher to make a dam effect, so he's kind of stayed with his promise.
That's good.
okay. So, but as far as a timeline of getting some sort of approved plan, again, it might not be for this construction season, but how soon till we can get an approved plan? I just don't want it to languish.
We have to optimize the size, design it, and then go through the permitting process. And it's in Wilmington, so realistic, I'm talking ready to go to construction next spring. It's probably gonna go throughout the winter.
Yeah, well, that's okay, just as long as we know that it's still progressing and we've got a timeline to
So
look at.
potentially it won't provide the relief that we were looking for?
It will